There's a lot to go over with Solana. Meme coins pumped, then crashed along with network activity. At the same time, institutions are making moves, spot ETF filings, possible approval dates, and even talk of Solana joining a US crypto reserve. On the tech side, Solana has also been upgrading its network. So let's dive into some of the biggest updates. If you've been keeping up, one of the most anticipated updates is Firedancer. Solana's co-founder Anatoly Yakovenko said that once it goes live, Solana can finally drop the beta label.
Since how would you describe what Firedancer is?
It's a even faster Solana.
Here's some quick context to understand why Firedancer is such a big deal. When Solana launched, it had just one validator client built by Solana Labs. Over time, other validator clients popped up like Agave, which is a fork of the original client, now maintained by Anza. Then there's Jito, which is a fork of Agave, built by Jito Labs. So when Firedancer also came into the picture, Solana was already ahead of most blockchains because outside of Ethereum, no other layer 1 has multiple validator clients. Plus, unlike Agave and Jito, Firedancer isn't a fork. It's a completely new validator client built from scratch by Jump Crypto. And that's huge because Agave and Jito share the same foundation. So if one has a critical bug, the other could be affected too. But Firedancer has an entirely separate code base, meaning it could keep Solana running even if the others fail. Now, Firedancer has been in development since 2022, but 2024 was when it hit major milestones. In September, an early version called Frankendancer went live on mainnet as a prototype to prepare for Firedancer's full launch. Around the same time, Firedancer itself launched on testnet, with tests showing it can handle over 1 million TPS. And if everything goes to plan, the full launch should happen later this year. Speaking of things going to plan, Solana just hit a major milestone, its first full year without an outage. It almost made it last year, but just days before hitting the mark, the network went down for nearly 5 hours in February. Since then, it's been smooth sailing. Well, mostly. When memecoin mania took over, the network struggled to handle the demand, and around April, reports showed that 75% of transactions were failing due to traffic. So to fix this, Solana rolled out a patch to ease congestion, and it's worked to some extent, with failure rates dropping to around 40%. Now, while that still sounds pretty high, most failed transactions are from bots, so regular users mostly transacted without problems. This brings us to the most popular narrative on Solana last year, meme coins. No other blockchain came close to the kind of crazy activity Solana saw, and meme coins were the main driver. With platforms like Pump Fun, launching a token became as easy as clicking a few buttons, and this led to an explosion of new tokens, over 100,000 minted on Solana every month since early 2024. That's insane compared to any other chain. Now, most of these tokens went nowhere, but the volume of activity translated into record-breaking revenue. At the start of 2024, meme coins were generating 600,000 for Solana-based dApps, so by the end of the year, that number had skyrocketed to 183 million per month. In total, crypto meme dApps pulled in 509 million in 2024, making up over 83% of all dApp revenue on Solana. And this surge pushed Solana to the second largest blockchain by TVL, overtaking Tron and BNB Chain. But the hype has since cooled off, mainly due to high-profile rug pulls and insider trading scandals that have eroded trust. But we'll get into that in a bit. Meanwhile, let's take a closer look at what's been happening in Solana's ecosystem, starting with PayPal launching its stablecoin PYUSD on Solana. PayPal chose Solana for its speed, low fees, and a key feature introduced last January, token extensions. Now, these make it easier for developers to launch tokens with extra functionality. For example, PYUSD uses token extensions to let merchants hide transaction amounts, while keeping other details visible for compliance. It also allows users to add notes to payments, making transactions more user-friendly for businesses and for everyday use. But PayPal isn't the only major player increasing its presence on Solana. Circle has been ramping up too, having been consistently minting hundreds of millions of USDC on Solana, bringing total issuance to over 9 billion in 2025 so far. This reflects rising demand for stablecoins on Solana, especially as the network's role in DeFi and trading could keep expanding. That same demand led Sky, formerly known as Maker, to launch its USDS stablecoin on Solana. Developers are flocking to Solana as well. The network now has over 3,200 monthly active developers, up from 2,000 at the start of last year. In 2024, Solana also led all of crypto in developer growth, adding 7,400 new developers, more than even Ethereum. Solana is also making moves on the hardware front. 2 years after launching its first crypto phone, Saga, it's back with a successor, Seeker. Pre-orders are already open at $500 and it's set to ship later this year. Saga had a slow start, but it eventually sold out thanks to unexpected demand from airdrop hunters. With Seeker, Solana Mobile is looking to refine the experience by improving hardware, crypto features, and airdrop perks. They've already got people's attention with over 145,000 pre-orders secured so far. On the institutional side, there are two major developments: the push for a spot Solana ETF and Trump's proposal to include SOL in a US crypto strategic reserve. The crypto reserve proposal was a surprising twist. At first, Trump only mentioned Bitcoin, but this year expanded the list to include ETH, XRP, ADA, and SOL. But just a few days later, on March 6th, he signed an executive order officially establishing a Bitcoin reserve along with a digital asset stockpile for other cryptocurrencies. However, no specific assets were named beyond Bitcoin, and to many people's disappointment, the order clarified that these assets won't be actively purchased. Instead, they'll be held from previously seized funds rather than acquired through taxpayer money. Notably, the US government does not currently hold any SOL among its seized assets, meaning that unless this changes, SOL won't be included in the reserve under the current framework. Meanwhile, the SEC is currently reviewing multiple Solana spot ETF filings from Grayscale, VanEck, 21 Shares, and Bitwise, with a decision expected by October this year. One thing that could speed this up is CME Group's launch of Solana futures in March. CME is the world's largest derivatives exchange, and historically, CME futures have been a key step towards a spot ETF approval. Both Bitcoin and Ethereum spot ETFs were only approved after their CME futures markets were well established. Now that Solana futures are live, the argument for a spot SOL ETF is even stronger. Of course, Solana bulls are hoping for a major price boost if the ETF gets approved, but there's still also the chance that the hype doesn't deliver, just like Ethereum's ETF launch. Speaking of, Solana's valuation against Bitcoin looks almost identical to ETH's, which is somewhat concerning. Network activity and revenue have also been impacted hard since the cool-off of the memecoin frenzy, which has run out of steam for now. At its peak in November 2024, Solana had 16 million active addresses. Now, that number has collapsed to around 7 million, and DEX trading volume has plummeted as well. Back in January this year, Solana's DEX volume peaked at 35 billion per day, but now it's down to single-digit billion dollars per day. The overall market downturn surely played a role in this as well, but the rife scams weren't helping either. In 2024, over 4 million tokens were created on Solana, making it a hub for rug pulls. Now, while this happens across crypto, the scale of it on Solana damaged trust in the network. The biggest blow came with the Libra token rug pull, which followed just a month after the launch of Trump and Melania. On February 14th, Argentine President Javier Milei promoted Libra on social media, and the token's market cap skyrocketed to 4.5 billion, only for it to crash hours later by over 90% as insiders dumped their holdings. With meme coins fading, Solana's new narrative could lean towards real-world use cases, specifically PayFi and DePIN. PayFi focuses on using blockchain to speed up payment finance, making money move faster and more efficiently. A co-founder of Huma Finance, the first Solana PayFi protocol, describes it as giving businesses and individuals access to future payments today instead of waiting weeks for transactions to clear. Now, on the DePIN side, Solana has already attracted some of the biggest projects in the space, like Helium, a decentralized wireless network, and Render Network, a decentralized GPU marketplace. According to Masari, Solana and Base are leading the charge in DePIN, with Solana dominating in network infrastructure projects thanks to its speed. And with that, you're all caught up on everything major happening with Solana. The network seems to be at crossroads. Meme coins have faded, scams are rife, and market conditions are not looking too good. But it's still continuing to improve its tech and attracting developers and institutions. Can it turn things around and kick off another massive bull run like last year? Well, let us know what you think in the comments below. Bye.